I'm just going to introduction, then I'll put the thing on and then... Sheffield Wednesday have made the 8th summer signing. Bristol City midfielder Tyreeq Bakinson joins the club. Good, that professional, wasn't he? Okay. What's that? Bakinson, not Battinson. Fuck's sake. It's amateur hour. It's absolute amateur hour here. It's no wonder I never got family fortunes. Yet I'm pissed off. Do you know the Campo swanning about? That should have been mine. So Wednesday have signed 23-year-old Tyreeq Bakinson from Bristol City. Now, what do we know about him? We'll have a quick look. Midfield player. Defensive midfield player I'd heard, but reading more about him, Bristol Post, going on a couple of their fans for him, seems deep line player more than defensive player, and that could be a key thing. So he's a 23-year-old midfield player, 6'3". Played last season on loan at Ipswich Town, where he played 17 games. He had been in the Bristol City side at the other side of Christmas before falling out with manager Nigel Pearson. Camden Town. Camden. Not got a lot of good for Camden. I once got a parking ticket there. I got 3 parking tickets in the same spot and never even moved car. I was just there a day. 3 tickets, same spot. And then, when I went to pay it, you can't actually park anywhere near Town Hall. Farce. Anyway, he's from Camden. Bristol City. Had at Ipswich on loan last season. Fell out with Nigel Pearson. And this is actually what Pearson had to say about him. I'm not bothered. He's a player who unfortunately just wants to play on his own terms. It's not something I particularly want, so he can go. I'm not wasting energy on negativity. Don't invest time on that. And I'm not just saying it. If you ask people who work with me, they'll say exactly the same thing. I don't waste energy on negativity. It drives me mad. If people aren't in the side, I want them to work hard to get there. And I want people who are in the side to work hard to stay there. I don't want people that when the going gets tough, they want to go somewhere else. I'm not interested. The fact that I'm prepared to say, yeah, let the deal go ahead, because actually people around the place who sap energy out of other people is not as valuable as having people here who want to be playing. No beating around the bush there from Big Nige. Although he don't really beat around the bush, does he? You know, wrestled that player to the floor in that game and called that reporter an ostrich. But when you hear managers saying this sort of thing, you do wonder if there is something there. There's obviously a clash of personalities between them. Whose side you lean more to is difficult. The player himself has said that he relishes competition for places. Competition is something good for any player to have to battle to get in there, so hopefully we can all make it better, make each other better and go in the right direction. 6 of one, half a dozen other. It'll be a little bit of both in there, I'm sure. Personality clashes happen in football. He might not be a lazy player or bad attitude, as Pearson says. Equally, maybe he don't work as hard as he could do. 6 of one, half a dozen. Must say though, these comments that Pearson made were before the lad went out on loan to Ipswich Town last season. It's not what he said this week regarding him coming to Wednesday. Ipswich, however, didn't take him up on the offer of a potential contract, so it makes me wonder if all was well there. We'll soon find out. Being on some of the Bristol forums, I had a look at some of their comments. There's 1 or 2 people in there laughing about the hard work side of things. 6'3" don't want the physical side is one of the comments I've seen. Another one is for a deep line playmaker, he don't like getting a foot in. That's their opinion. We'll wait and see what we see with his own eyes. That's the only way I ever judge a player. Somebody can be fantastic at another club, come here and be shit. Quite over the years, that's quite often how it's been. But players can come from another club with no fanfare and end up being really good for us. So different clubs, different situations, different atmospheres, different people you're working for. Sometimes things fall into place, sometimes they don't. So it's a fresh start for him. From Darren Moore's point of view, this isn't the first time he's gone in for a player who supposedly had problems in the past with attitude or whatever it is. Last season we had Mendes Lang, who obviously had his troubles in the past, and Berahino, who apparently had been trouble at Stoke, he'd been trouble at West Brom, all these things. Never a problem out of them last season while they were here, so maybe it is that this is a good environment for the player to come and work in. Now, didn't particularly work out for Lang or Berahino. He came in, scored a couple of goals. I think it's turned out that he's one of those players who was never going to be any better than he was at 18. That happens in football. But all the time he was here, never a whisper about any bollocks being had. So people can turn over a new leaf, and sometimes they just need a fresh start. And maybe that's going to be the case here. But more concern, for me, a genuine concern, because I'd heard he was a deep line player, 6'3", so I thought, oh great, maybe the beast that we've been after for 5 or 6 seasons. Maybe he's going to provide a real competition with Volks for that tackling position in front of the back four and replace Luongo. I saw something today, it was an interview, I think it was in the Examiner, and the local reporter down at Bristol had this to say. A deep-lying midfield passer with great vision and an ability to dictate tempo and spread the play. He has a natural languid style, which is a blessing and a curse, but when he's on it he can deliver some lovely diagonal passes between the lines. Positive stuff there then. But he also goes on to say, branded a defensive midfielder, but in reality a deep lane midfielder. The defensive side of his game is probably where he falls down a bit. He could do with being more aggressive and using his frame proactively, which chimes with what the fans were saying on their forum. The final bit here. Pearson frequently said one of the challenges was getting him to speed up his ball movement. Pearson wanted City to be a fast counter-attacking side, and it's hard to do that when you have a midfielder who doesn't move the ball quick enough, coupled with his apparent inability or unwillingness to alter his game to his manager's thinking. A little bit of a concern there that Pearson thinks he wouldn't adapt his game to, fit in with the team plan. Now, you don't always agree with the manager and what they're saying, but you've got to sing from the same hymn sheet. You might not like the lyrics, but everybody's got to be singing the same song at the same time, Pearson strikes me as a type of character who doesn't suffer fools, and I'm not saying Bakinson's a fool, but what I'm saying is I suspect Pearson is the type who's got a great deal of patience in trying to persuade somebody or something. I think there's probably an element there of this is how we're doing it, if you don't like it, knob off. And I can understand that thinking, because sometimes you ain't got the time or the patience. Darren Moore strikes me, he might be a little bit more of a patient character than Pearson, and he might be able to just get it out of him or persuade him there's a certain way we want to do things. Languid is a word, though, that unsettles me, especially midfield. I talked in that friendly game about George Byers, two-touch George, how different Wednesday looked when he come on, because he speeds up the tempo of the move. And in this division, when teams are going to come and plant 4 at back or 5 at back and sit back in their half and make us break them down, you've got to move the ball quickly. You can't be fanning about. And some teams, the more in-your-face teams like Accrington Stanley, you can't have 2, 3, 4 touches because there'll be somebody in on you. And if you're in front of the back 4, that's an area where you can't be fanning about on the ball. So, whilst he's probably not going to be the Carlton Palmer replacement that we've been looking for 25 years, perhaps he can bring something. The reporter from Bristol talked about his really good passing range. And there's one other thing here to consider, that perhaps Darren Moore's not going to use him as a deep line player. Now, maybe he's always played there. He's played there for Bristol City. He's played there for Ipswich, but don't mean he's going to play there for us. Maybe he's going to play a little bit higher up the pitch with a ball winner behind him. Maybe we're going to make the most of his terrific passing range as a proper midfield ball player, with somebody behind like Volks winning the tackles for him. So it's all about these little blends. Maybe there's parts of his game that are weak, but it's about putting them together like a jigsaw and seeing what he brings in. Nothing lost. He's coming in. He's 23 years old. Again, he's a decent age player. If we get something out of him, fantastic. If he don't fit in, it's just another squad place. fair enough. You can never have too many bodies at middle park ready to step in, because, like I said last season, with the injuries, Byers was out, Luongo was out. I think there's only Bannon out of the central midfield players that didn't have a spell out injured last season. So it's another body in, 6'3", good ball player, and we'll see where we take it from there. Good luck to that. I hope he settles in, and I hope he does a good job for us. It's a fresh start. Whatever's gone on with Pearson, and we'll probably never know the actual truth, that's between them two. We can only ever take a player as we find him when he comes to play for us. Yes, you listen to what people are saying, and you can so you're aware in case things don't work out. But let's see what he does for us before we make any really harsh judgments out like that. Yeah. Hope he works out. Darren Moore and his Home for Lost Boys. That's what, maybe this one will pan out well for us. And if it don't, we've got Hunt, Delibishiru, Adeniran, Bannon, Byers, Volts. We've got enough in there. So if it works out, fantastic. If it don't, that's football, isn't it? No, I've done it all now. I'm trying to find a catchy title for the video. More rescues. Bristol outcast. Now that sounds a bit. I'll swoop for Bristol wantaway. No, we're not doing that. No. Oh, go on then.